welcome back. That was good morning tea. Let's see. We're going to go back to item 2.2, which is our draft annual plan submission from the Mercury Bay Community Board. Did we get a mover and a seconder for this report? Or did we just jump into it? Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Delhi, seconded by Murray. I'm going to now look at the resolutions. The first one is to receive the report. We've got one amendment, which is to wharf fees. And what was your recommendation?
That due to the COVID pandemic, adequate consultation has not been able to take place, and the board recommends that this be deferred to the 22-23 annual plan.
23-24.
Oh, 23-24, sorry.
Okay. All right, so we've got that. So all those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Carried. Right, that puts that to bed. Fantastic. And that takes us to our work programme. Mover and a seconder to receive the report, please.
Yep.
Tony and Delhi, thank you. Right, let's have some conversation. Hi, Bruce.
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
First thing, I'd just let you know, board, that I am handing over the work program from next meeting on to Andrew Bowden. So Andrew Bowden's going to be taking control of this and looking after it and presenting to you as a board. So we've got them in a really good situation in the state now across the 5 boards. We've got a real consistency. I think things are running well as far as the information in the work programs. Most of it's from Andrew Bowden's team, obviously CapEx, and then there's the operational section, the area managers input too. So at this stage, this will be my last one to present to you. But yeah, we're happy to take any questions and do our best to answer them.
Okay, thanks, Bruce.
I've got a question.
Delhi.
Whitianga Esplanade reclamation. So to date, 131,187 has been spent, but there's limited progress. Can someone put a context around that for me?
There's zero spent on that one, Delhi. It's 131,000 budget. Yeah. Dean might want to. It says Deal Allen, but it's supposed to be Dean Allen. Apologies about the spelling mistake there, Dean. Dean might want to make a comment if Dean's in the room there.
Yeah, he is here.
Yeah, through the chair. So Rex and I and Bruce received an update report last Thursday from Alan Titlady on the Whitianga Esplanade. And we're planning to bring something to you on the 27th of April, which is your next corridor or workshop.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry, what was that date?
27th. We need to check and see if there's anything in our diaries. Yes.
Can I speak to that?
Yes.
This is something that to me is dying the ditch. It's got to be done. We've got to have an MOU and this by August, in my book. 27th of April, it's going to be too late. We need to progress it.
That was my.
We had a meeting with Nadi Hay. This is top feature as far as I'm concerned. If Tony and I are not there, it's going to, I'll tell you now, it's going to go. We've got money in the budget. We've got to get it moving. So we've got to have a meeting earlier. This to me is dying the ditch stuff now. And it really is dying the ditch stuff. And if we want to start playing rough, I'll play rough to get this one through. Because I believe it really is that important. So I don't want to put off the 27th of April. I want a meeting on this with Joe as soon as we can get it, and let's progress it, because we've talked and talked and talked and talked and talked. And to me, it is real dying the ditch.
Okay.
On a more positive note, Andrew Bowden, I'm glad to see the project reports that you've attached. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. We can understand where you're going, what you're doing. Simple, clear, love it. So I'll give you a pat on the back.
Thank you. It doesn't happen very often, but I'll take it.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, Andrew, and Bruce, they're great. project on a page. It's really useful.
Yeah.
information.
What we've been asked,
So I will leave that with you, Dean, and you, Bruce, and you, Andrew, to maybe find a time bit earlier than the 27th of April to have this workshop catch up around this, if we can, please.
I will try my best, but I will communicate to you guys by the end of this week as to next steps.
Yep,
Yeah.
okay, perfect. Did you have any comments, Tony, on the work program?
No, I endorse everything that's been said. It's great to have that stuff in front of you, and with what Murray said, I agree. The next big opportunity for this town is the development of that area, and yeah, it is too significant to let slip.
and so once we get that done and we get it out and we get it in the public, these charter boat operators will actually get a whole picture of what we're trying to do. We're only telling half the story at the moment.
Yeah.
We need to sell the sausage or the sizzle to the sausage. You know, we need to get wrap some stuff around it, and we're not doing it.
Delhi,
Question maybe for you, Brucey. Had a few questions from Matarangi residents. You know, there's still that sort of bubbling tension about the size of the development out there. I went and had a walked the spit and looked at the erosion yesterday as well.
Yeah.
About the concerns about how fast and how soon wastewater/water at Matarangi will be improved. There's still an attitude out there that the cart is before the horse, that there should have been upgrades to the infrastructure before the developers were allowed to develop. And I kind of have a degree of sympathy. Can you just give me a bit of background on that the next time I get harassed by Matarangi residents?
Yeah, sure, Delhi. So we have worked with the developers. They've got approval to develop a certain number of properties, but they don't have approval to develop, probably as much as what they would like to at this stage. So we've got a certain capacity with the wastewater plant. We can build in a little bit of extra capacity, but basically we're on the path to try and replace that wastewater treatment plant with a brand new one. And as you may recall, or maybe not, we're going through a resource consent for that. So the first stage is to get the resource consent. Then once we know what the conditions are we have to comply with, that determines what the treatment plant looks like. Now the resource consent, we've been working on that for quite a number of years now. We set up a working group with local iwi, forest and bird, local residents, a lot of people. So we've had a lot of meeting and talking. We submitted our consent application. We then went through a public notification process, which was what it is. So we went through that, and now we're trying to just move that forward as much as we can. But we are going to have to go to a resource consent hearing for that consent. So we're at the moment, and I think the comment in the work program notes this, we're busy with that, preparing for that. Now, it's a little bit frustrating because that's a lot of time and money and resource that we have to commit to that, but that's the process under the RMA. So there's nothing we can do about it. Whilst it might be a little bit frustrating, and we're engineers, we want to get on and build stuff, we have to go through the process. So so we're working on that. So yeah, so I'm comfortable that we're moving in the right direction. We do have pressure at the moment. Obviously, the developers are, sections have been selling very well, and they want everything yesterday. So I get that. But we've got constraints on us, and they're well aware of those.
Excellent. What about water, Bruce?
Yeah, water supply. Our resource consent is adequate for the full development out there. We're currently busy with some work around the reservoirs, the bluff reservoirs, to do some additional works with those. The other thing that's underway, and Andrew might want to comment, is around the new water treatment plant at Matarangi. So that'll be a full new membrane plant, the same as what we've built around the rest of the district. So that will really help us as far as reliability of supply, as far as we can treat during, very high turbid conditions in the stream. So yeah, everything's kind of on track as far as that goes. I'm relaxed about the water supply as well.
So when is the new membrane plant estimated to be completed?
Andrew's thinking.
Curly question.
I think it's the middle of next year.
Yeah.
Oh wow, cool.
Don't quote me on that, but
Okay.
we have the location. It doesn't compromise the existing site. We've got a couple of issues with beaches with regard to that piece of land, but we're working through those at the moment. The next one is Onimana, and the one after that will be Matarangi, and Onimana will be probably in the order of December this year operation. So it's we know what we're building, we know where we're building it. It's just a matter of getting all the documentation together, putting the consent in, and then going for it. So it's the last but one. Hahe will be the last in the programme.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you,
Thanks.
Bruce.
Tony?
I was going to say, so this is an example on about our comms, and sometimes they're very generic, sometimes they don't actually tell you anything. So here's some targeted communication to go through the Matarangi Ratepayers Association
Absolutely.
and get them to disseminate it on our behalf, because the work is done. There is no fear. We clearly understand that we have to provide water, get the wastewater. And it's a bit the same what's going on in, say, in Whitianga and the waterways. I would say we're not letting those things go ahead, knowing that we can't deal with providing water and getting rid of wastewater. But how do you tell people that so they have confidence and actually believe you? And so part of that's telling them it's going to happen. And then when you've told them that, you deliver it on time. And so for me, exactly what Bruce articulated, put that on one page and give that to the Matarangi Ratepayers Association.
Absolutely.
And then it takes all the scuttlebutt out. And so there are many things in this particular neck of the woods that we can be doing the same thing with. And that's the common theme when you go talk to people. We don't tell anyone what's up. We talk to one person and we think we fixed it. But that one person ain't the hero. It doesn't get to everyone. Anyhow, that's.
Yeah, I agree. Tony, another quick question, Hot Water Beach surf life-saving donations. There was some investigative work around that.
I'm still working on that.
Still working on that?
There's a lot of conversations, some people have been away since.
Yeah, fair enough. Just want to know it's still in train.
Yeah, it's something that I will be kept track of where we're at on it.
Fantastic.
Good. Right, is that it for our work program? Do you have anything?
Could I,
Elaine?
Is there a conversation to be had around Tapu Tapu in the work program?
I think we discussed it.
Well, I think the thing is, until we get the Māori values, it's
That's
really
true.
not
True. Sorry, Scott.
anything that can be.
Fair enough.
Andrew, did you want to say something?
yes, I do.
Sorry.
I share something with the board in these times of negativity. On the Parks and Recreation, there was an item there for sports park emergency netball court renewal. Now, this is an interesting project, and in our stressful COVID times, it's a story of positivity. Number one, the contractor who's doing the work was doing some work in Tauranga, was going to go back to Auckland and realised his whole family had got COVID, so he wasn't going to go back, and decided to work on the project, and has been 7 days a week for a few weeks now. So that's good. That's a good story. Secondly, the netball club has donated $40,000 of locally raised funding for the project that permits us to build the highest standard of netball courts at Whitianga. So that's good. The staff member Sue Costello has been integral in this project and in communications with the netball court. So all of this positivity will result in and I've pushed Kirsten Richmond to start this off, and she's into it now, as a celebration in May when the netball season starts again, to celebrate the project, the input of the local community via the Netball Society or club. And in these times of intense negativity that we all live in at the moment, this project will be a shining light, and I think it's needed.
Let's
Okay.
have comms.
They look absolutely fantastic.
Another
If you
great
haven't been out there, they look amazing.
Tell.
And
That's-
Riker,
Yes,
you'll be asked to open the courts.
yeah, I have been. Thank you. I'll be there.
Don't miss
Just
the
sorting
goal.
that.
Oh, imagine that. Imagine
I
that.
think you're golfing.
All right, no, hey, and thank you, Andrew, because it's really important to recognise we do get caught up in some of the negative stuff, but that's a really positive story. The club got involved, worked with council staff worked their butt off, the contractors worked their butt off, and we got it done in time for the season to start, which is just phenomenal. So thank you.
And a big community project, more than anything.
But can I get that,
Can we-
put on a page and put in the informer as well?
One time they're cutting the ribbon.
Eh? No, well, like this,
It's the
Whatever
story,
said.
it's the stuff, yeah.
all we ever hear from the public is what's going wrong.
Yeah.
That's all anyone ever hears in anything. When you get something right, we should,
Sing it from the rooftop.
correct, we should say that, but we should ensure that everyone in our community shares it with us.
Agreed.
More important than half the bloody stuff we send out, which no one's even interested in. This has huge impact, as we know, for the number of people that go down there and use it and support it. And it recognises the effort of our staff, who behind the scenes, get this stuff done. So I don't know who you're going to talk to get this done. We've been talking about this for years, but that is another phenomenally good news story, and we should congratulate everyone involved publicly.
Yeah, they completely agree. Sorry.
I just want to make a comment. It had a bit to do with the guys installing the water meters lately. Was it-
That's due to be completed by the end of next month, Murray.
Yep. I just wanted to say that
I'm not,
my experience with them was really nice guys, only too pleased to help. Reinstatement was perfect. When you look at what Chorus did with the fibre, which was an absolute shambles, our contractors have been really, really good. Polite, cleaned up the mess. I can only say it should be passed on to them. They've done a very, very good job.
I'll make sure that's passed back.
That's really exceptional.
I've got one more thing, Riker. The RTS side, if you've got the time, especially Murray and Tony, pop out up Murray White Road. You'll see the site has been cleared. There's machines on site now finishing it off with the regard to completing the topographical survey of the site. We have got quite a few pieces of kit that have been either ordered or on the way to us. The design team from WSP is fervently working on the infrastructure services at the moment, and we're doing a ground penetrating radar survey to identify any underground hazards or location of a sewer as well that runs across the site up to close to the existing helicopter place. So that project is going particularly well. And if you went to the site now, like I did yesterday, it comes across how big the site is, and it's completely bare at the moment. Have a look if you've got the time.
Yeah, we will do.
Yeah, I've been.
That sounds excellent. It's very exciting.
It's good. It's good.
Awesome.
Right,
Okay.
that's me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else for the work program? No? All right, thank you both. Fantastic updates.
Thanks. Cheers.
Did I not get a movement? Okay, can I have a mover and a second for the work program? Tony, Murray, thank you. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Carried. That takes us to 5.2, which is our action schedule on page 61. And right, and some of these are closed because they've moved into the work program. Is that correct? Yes. Okay,
Just to
Just closed from there.
yeah, closed because they're sitting somewhere else, yeah.
So I have a question about the lady, was it Karina, who came to the public forum last time, requested bike racks to be installed along Buffalo Beach. So there is a request for service reference and a letter of response has been sent. So does that mean that bike racks are going to be provided?
I'm sitting with our community development team, who believe that it's a really good idea, and they'll look at how their budgets are placed to do that, maybe possibly in the next financial year. Given that we're
Fantastic.
setting our budgets, so.
So that, yeah,
Certainly everyone thought it was a great idea, but it's just working through what that looks
money
like.
and time, yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful, thank you. That was my only question.
Tony?
I note on this thing here that Carina Creek is closed. And to the best of my knowledge, nothing's happened. So I'm aware that Ray Black is the man who is meant to be coming down when the ground was suitable, was long reach digger.
I think it's in the
complete-
work program. I saw it. I think, that's why I said some things have moved. Is that right?
We're on the action schedule, aren't we?
Yeah, decision.
So I'm on the action schedule on page 64.
Do you think that went in the work program?
I think
So they-
they moved some things that,
Yeah.
that weren't actually,
Excuse me, we did.
Sorry.
Yeah, that one was closed because it was scheduled to be done.
Yeah, work
So
scheduled for March.
Bruce may be able to comment more on the practicalities of that.
Well, if I can just say, it's not closed until it's done. So because that's closed, the work never gets done, anyone not going to think it's done, it isn't done. So for me, I've never closed anything in my life until I finished it. But this thing here, I just remind people, this is not a playground. This is an important part of our stormwater infrastructure. And we know that we have significant problems in this town potentially, and certainly, if we take it, let's be going on the stormwater management program, like we are the second town under threat for inundation. So we need to have everything that supports getting rid of stormwater in top condition. And the discussions about, the area around where the old hospital is, and which has got a Nari Hay, we're well aware of what some of those options are, but a lot of it's driven by stormwater. And that's work that Alan was doing along with others, because we have a major problem in that part of town. So anyhow, I just say this is what I asked to go on. I don't want it closed because we haven't done it. I want it closed when I go out there and look, and the mangroves and rubbish are taken out and it's cleaned up and it's fit for purpose, given winter is on its way.
I think, Bruce, did you want to say something or?
Yeah, I was just going to add a comment in there. I understand what Tony's saying around closure of items on the action schedule, and I understand what Heather's perspective that it was scheduled and therefore that's why it was closed, as no further action on the action schedule was required regarding it, taking into account that it actually still needs to happen on the ground. So Ray was scheduled to do it late last week. We had to postpone it with the bad weather that was forecast. He also had some hold-ups around Sheriff Block, some work that he was assisting out there. So he is rescheduling that work today, but understand where Tony's coming from regarding the action schedule and where things should be closed or remain open.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Just following on from what Tony said, we had a report from a year ago on the flooding issues around Cook Drive and around Hot Springs and all that, and the Nadi Hay land at the hospital. And there was an engineer that was doing a full report on that. Where is that now?
And that was the Palms development as well,
Correct.
wasn't it?
Yes.
It was all of that kind of
Yeah, that,
surrounding on
Where
it.
is that report?
yeah.
So the answer on that one is that some work was done on that last year. You're correct, Councillor McLean. But Mo's got additional work happening now, some more detailed work, and it is going to be quite a big job to fix, as you guys are probably aware. It's not going to be an easy one. There's a number of options, but Mo's got the right people involved now working through it. So, yeah.
Can we have project on a page each month on that one? Because that's another very important one for our town. Because I know Nadi Hay want that settled for the hospital land too.
Yeah, understand, and we do too. So,
Page update on that one, just to keep us informed, please.
yep, we'll consider that.
Did you want to add something?
No, Bruce has covered it.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, Bruce.
No. Oh, you can apologise. Right, anything else for the action schedule?
I think I've
Did I get
asked all the questions.
Thanks. Great.
So the investigations at Otama are still ongoing?
Yes, I don't know if you want to give an update now, Bruce, or,
Yeah, we're right at the end of that, but unfortunately with Derek going away sick, we're going to have to, that's going to delay us a little bit. We are still moving forward on that one. Like I say, we're right at the end of it, but it needs a final kind of step to be taken, which Derek's really the guy to do that. So
Yep.
I can give you an update next meeting.
Yep, awesome.
Okay.
Thanks, Bruce.
thank you. All right,
Did you need to pass them?
all those in favour is what I was about to say.
Yeah.
All,
Did we
was there
accept
anything else?
it?
Yeah, I just asked Donna. I said,
Oh,
did we
yeah,
do a
okay. I
motion?
didn't think we did.
All those in favour, to accept
Fine.
the work programme, sorry, action schedule?
Action sheets, yeah.
Yes, opposed, none, carried. All right, so that will take us to our members' reports. Who would like to go first?
I'll start.
Oh, you both want to start? Should we paper, scissors, rock for it?
You can go first.
Deli's going to start.
Because I'm going to be quick, because I've already asked about the bike racks. There was a question about that from a member of the public. I had contact with Play Centre about hardship, and I assume that they've been, the rates rebate, they've been steered in the right direction around that. Questions about waste and water, Matarangi, thank you, Bruce, he's answered that. And I did walk the Matarangi spit to have a look at the erosion. And I'm going to have a chat with Mark Bedford about, there's a lot of fallen pines down there. And I'm just wondering whether that's going to be part of their restoration. I don't know, Dean, if you know, all those fallen pines need to be taken away.
Sorry for the chair, I don't know, I don't have an update on that project.
Okay, and I'll have a chat to Mark.
That's been all, they've got, what's his name?
Greg Jenkins.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're working with the group again to do all that.
Yeah, and I just wanted to eyeball what state it was in, hadn't been around there for a while. Yep, so that's me.
All right, thank you. Jeremy?
Yeah, I, like I said earlier, I went along to the cycle strategy workshop. It's an interesting piece of work. It was really good. I think, like they said, there will be I guess a paper will come to board to consider. One of, I guess, the contentious issues will be just how we deal with parking along the area that is proposed. The first stage of it is to try and connect with the school, essentially Cook Drive through the school, which is sort of, I guess, the obvious. So the school kids can pick up on that piece of work. Yeah, it's a reasonable amount of money. There seems to be a lot of support, but yeah, it's just trying to deal with how parking and the restrictions that may create. And then on top of that, and I think it's all for us to consider, is how Whitianga as a whole would integrate a cycle strategy or a cycle pass. So I think there's going to be some piece of work done on how the town might look longer term. I'm very much in the mindset that this, as far as towns go in our district, certainly it lends itself to being a cycling town just through its fact it's so flat and accessible. So yeah, it'll come to us. I guess it'll come to us in our next community board as a paper to consider, but a lot of people put a lot of hard work into it. So I think it's good.
Great.
Bruce, I probably should have asked earlier, just one of the things in one of our chairs, I think it was the Northern Ratepayer Chairs meeting, we discussed Buff Road and where that was at. And one of the chairs spoke about how that would be dealt with, obviously the road closure, but then there was talk about whether a swing bridge or something along those lines could be constructed. So to have still have that link between across that road, and I guess it would play into potentially this cycle strategy, but certainly further into the walking ability, linking those sort of satellite towns right through. So I don't know if that's come across your desk, but it was interesting. I think I was encouraged in the fact that they weren't coming to council to expect it to be funded purely by council. I think they were looking to have a partnership agreement, and I'm certainly very much encourage all the communities, if they can come to us with solutions, that's not putting their hand up, we should be getting behind and supporting it. So I don't know if that's come across. Have you been discussing?
Yes, it has. So the team, Ed Varley and the team are working through the options for that. So there'll be a report will come to the community board regarding options for Bluff Road, obviously ranging from, full closure and nothing else happening on site through to possible options that could include a swing bridge. And I've had some discussions with some of the community members around that, and I know there is a high interest in that option, if at all possible. And so the team are working through that. And it is great when the communities are keen to kind of step up and come to the party. The only thing I would say is that, as you know, we're in a very litigious society nowadays, and so that makes things quite hard for council to be as to do things as pragmatically as what we might like to do. But at least we still can investigate and work through and do whatever we can to work with the communities. So it won't be a cheap option, but the team are looking at it, and we'll bring all those options and costs back to the board.
Yeah, great. And I mean, I guess while Rex is in the room, I would just say that there are instances where people come asking for, certain projects, CapEx projects, and they can be dismissed on face value through cost. But I think when we can create partnerships and look at external funding, maybe those things are achievable. I think we've got a mechanism that we can, I guess, deal with it. I know you guys are good at that, but I think it should be encouraged. Yep, that's all I've got.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Cool, thank you, Tony.
Excellent.
Well, and before you were talking, so the swing bridge, or suspension bridge has been talked about for years. From the last time we closed it, probably 3 years ago, with the rock fall.
That one, so.
Yeah, no, and but of course we know cost. When you see what's happening in our roading budgets, there'll be a limitation. Well, there's no limitation if we want to pay for it. I'd say. So I think there has been work done on it, and it's not forgotten. Maybe it's the thing I find now is there's that much happening in the background that none of us know about that we used to be well informed. So for me, we've had this discussion with a few people. A lot of this communication's gone dead on the elected arm. And so we're hearing things today which are great things that are going on. None of us are party to it. There used to be a time we were well and truly party to it. And maybe we're able to contribute to it. Just for the shoreline management program, so that's now really getting near the very end of its process. There's a series of meetings next month, and I just say if anyone's got time to dial on, they are worth dialing onto, if for no other reason than to see the quality of work that community folk are putting into this project. Like, it is phenomenal. It's the most organised and most constructive thing that I've been engaged in my time. Led ably by the team that run it, and Amon, who we've all seen Amon from the time he joined our organisation to now, and for me, he's grown another leg. It's a very, very good project, and the outcomes are community driven, and so at some stage it'll be important that the bigger world sees that this is a community outcome. It's not an elected arm outcome. It's not a staff outcome. Certainly we've had a bit of input and staff a lot of input, but without that communities, we would not even be close to getting this done, and we would not be close to having everyone basically on the same page. So I just once again commend everyone that's part of that project. And out of general interest, because people get around and talk, Rex has been spending time of late getting around communities throughout the district and meeting with, I won't say key people, but people that have got community profiles and leaders. And Murray and I had a day with Rex yesterday to visit 6 people. For me, really, really worthwhile. I think both my speak to Rex, but I think you would have found that worthwhile. And it's interesting when you're there's a common theme and things that we talk about on, and we need to make better use of people in our community that have skills that some of us don't have, and use them to convey our messages. It's way better than enough, really. So that's enough for me.
Thank you.
My first comment will be about the swing bridge, and I have a degree of frustration with projects that have been well vetted before. This one has, and the opening of the Bluff Road and all the rest, and then you get a new room like Brett Page comes in. I hope we do not waste a lot of time. You know, they talk about reopening the Bluff Road. A friend of ours broke a leg by cycling up there a couple of months back through being silly because it's not fit for purpose. They closed off the road, people opened it because they didn't want to do it. The spring bridge was thoroughly investigated, and it was decided that it just can't affordable unless they want to really fund it just about 100%. And, you know, we keep on, with staff and with the people out there in the public, we reinvent the wheel, and some of us have been around a long time, but it is all on file, it is all there, there should be a comprehensive documentation on there. So I'll leave that at that. Short Riley visited me to say he'd come to council, he wants to use the skate park in conjunction with the skateboard trust. He was told he would need a concession. I said, for goodness sake, we're not that bureaucratic, are we? What he wants to do is to get some kids after school and have a section where he can train these kids. Yes, he's charging them a nominal fee and providing gear and getting stuff from Woolworths. I just hope common sense can prevail that you're working with a skateboard trust and you go and do it. I don't see why you should have to get a concession to use that. I really don't. I think that's pretty gone ahead. So I just ask, can we please just settle it down, let him go and have work with the skateboard trust and those guys. He's only coming in for a couple of hours in an afternoon. Go and do it. You know, he's got 65 kids now. He's providing gear. He's as keen as mustard. Let's not put a lot of bureaucratic rubbish in front of him. Let's just let him get on and do it. And as I say, Vincent Lockhart is and the skateboard trust, they're talking about sponsoring some of these kids. They're talking about buying gear for these kids. The skateboard trust. They said, if you've got kids that haven't got gear, can't afford it, we'll buy it. That's a tremendous community effort. So I'm just saying, let's not ask them for a concession because that's $350. Doesn't need a concession. It just needs to go work with the skateboard trust. Yes, you have an area. The rest of the skateboarders have that area. That's all we need. And I'm going to look at that.
I think led to the security there. By having
That's the first thing I thought, because there's someone there.
organised,
Yeah.
people there under watchful eye.
Or I don't know what the mechanism for that is, but let's explore it. I don't know what the mechanism for not charging or how, I don't
Well, he was
know.
told he had to get a concession in here, and that's why he came to me.
Excuse me, Rika, through the chair.
Sorry,
So-
yes.
Sorry.
How can I come
No,
see you?
back to you, with you back to me. So Derek's team that do concessions, we have been having, some conversations about what that could look like. And we're all really supportive for exactly the reasons that you said, because, you know, also you've been talking about the undesirable element that have been there. I see that as a way that can sort of help alleviate that and bring those kids on to respect that area. So we have been looking, Murray, at how that could be. We want to protect his right to do that as well by some mechanism. So I think at the moment we have things like the yoga classes and stuff like that on reserves that are real minimal impact and things like that. So we've been looking at that kind of process.
Well, surely it can just be a simple process to say, work in the skateboard trust and get on with it.
So
But it'd be-
so it was up to ask the board today, and I was going to ask you after the meeting, but you've raised it now, whether you were in support of Sean, and I'm getting the clear message that we are, so I'll be able to pass it on to the team
Absolutely.
working with them.
Absolutely, and just,
Yeah.
you know, no bureaucracy, let him get in there.
So you've answered my question I was going to ask later about the scope and what.
Excellent.
Good.
Thank you.
Tick something off the to-do list.
Yeah.
Is that it to you, Murray?
Me,
Yep.
me.
Okay, fantastic. Just really quickly from me, as Tony said, we met with the tour boat guys and I think it was a really good conversation. Yeah, no, but it was a good session. I have found it really disappointing recently to learn about all of the sort of antisocial behaviour that has been happening down at the wharf. And we had a conversation with the police and sort of had a conversation about what we could do down there. I'm really supportive and encouraging of more cameras, or the camera quality being at what it needs to be down there to help sort of catch some of these naughty folks. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up and just sort of say that the board's really aware. We've had a conversation and covered some of this off with the police, and hopefully we'll see an improvement in behaviour. At the 2 recent ratepayer chair meetings that we had, I understand that Waka Kotahi will have a process where we can do some submissions into speed limits. That's correct, Heather? Yep, and I just would really hope that this board would be able to put together some submissions in support of what our communities want. And be as supportive of them as we can.
I think, just to interrupt that.
Yeah, no, please go.
So Ed Varley
Yeah,
has done on behalf of council this work, so. it's
Oh,
up
good.
there. So he's got maps of every road and, of what they are, what the recommendations are. And I'm certainly have sent that out. But we could ask, Heather to get him to send that again to our
Yes, please.
community board members.
yeah,
So you can see it and look at the ones that are of interest to you to see if
Yeah.
it's covered. And if not, I'd say deal with it sooner than later and don't wait for another meeting because.
Yeah.
it might be
yeah,
too late.
absolutely, absolutely.
But Ed has done a really, really good job on this.
Okay, good. I haven't seen it, but it's great that it's there.
Yeah.
Can we
Yeah.
leave it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I might add, the ECT, the senior guy was to address our last council meeting, but they got caught because the minister turning up into their offices and everything. I think it'll be at the next council meeting, for those issues and the other issues we talk about with the resilience and our own, you know, as he said, I'd like to be living for 10 years. Not because we don't try,
Yeah,
but it's how fun it is.
however, we're the pot of holders. All right, thank you. That's it for me. So I think we can close this meeting.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, mover and second to receive members' reports.
I'll move it.
Sally, Jeremy, all those in favour?
Aye.
Right.
Opposed, none carried. And that is our meeting.
Excellent.
Don't forget, we've